Hey there, it is Phoenix Amore. So we made it through October. It is November 1st. As people can see, as I'm putting more videos out there, some will be on Facebook, some will be here. Huge things happening, right, that I had written about on my blog. A lot of you that are on YouTube follow my blog. What happened in North Korea, that tunnel collapsing, was huge because, and I pointed out to people, right, where I know I have a lot of folks reading my blog, and I pointed out where Colin Powell basically believed what I said. At some point you have people smart enough to go, okay, a lot of stuff she keeps seeing and dreaming, that is some real powerful stuff, right? So here it was, he said they don't want to commit, boom, the tunnel collapsed. Now what did I say on Facebook that was so profound? And I actually wrote it in my blog. I said you have plutonic, right, power. When I talk about Pluto, when I was talking about all that stuff, and me having the 3 Aries planets in that 8th house of Scorpio, Pluto, plutonic, right, that is in essence being able to tap into that energy. That's what people need to understand. But that is God created energy. So when the whole earthquake thing, right, and I would say things like 0 deaths, this is the thing you have to understand. So when people were trying to interpret stuff, when I said I'm like a weapon, guess what you have? You have people, because that is how man is. They start feeling themselves, they get egotistical. Oh, that means we're supposed to make some nuclear missiles. No, when I was not speaking about making missiles. Now you see they blowing themselves, well, the tunnel collapses and 200 people killed. So you understand when I talk about God's plutonic, quote unquote, power, when that earthquake hit, strongest one in 20 years. But when I talked about what my aim is, bananas, no tsunami. Understand now, when the North Koreans were trying to read my blog and follow behind me, that did not work out so well for them, because like I said before, they're reading it like it's characters, and I'm really saying spiritual warfare for real. So the things they cannot see, the things they could not comprehend, that is an arrogance that man has had since the end of time, from the beginning of time. We know this already. So here it is, that tunnel collapse. Now guess what? You're gonna have South Korea. I saw y'all say, oh, we're not doing that, we're not doing it, that wasn't good. That's the point. So now that you see me verbally speaking, even when I talked about military, I had to come back around and say to people, stop trying to take my words and apply it. You have some fools trying to say, see, she's on that Black Panther. Stop doing that. This is why I'm going to have to verbally articulate and say what I mean, because you have very arrogant people that cannot help but try to take your words to fit their agenda. So military, right, when I talked about the spiritual gifts I have, spiritual gifts like Athena, like, that did not mean that I'm on the Greek stuff. Now some Greek folks do not take offense. Some Greek folks knew what I meant. Some of that culture with Greek was about men having sex with men and all this kind of stuff. Do not make it like I'm being anti-LGBT right now when I'm saying this. I'm purely talking about history and all this kind of stuff, so people understand when I say those people on that Greek stuff. When I'm talking about people that get to dabbling in stuff, they have these beliefs where if they sleep with this person or da-da-da-da, all that kind of stuff, that it enhances their spiritual gifts and all this. And so in essence gets flipped a little bit to where when you have somebody like me saying, listen, I'm talking about the Holy Trinity deity. I'm also speaking on things like the Babylonian trigonometry, right? So as these mathematicians and scientists started discovering the things that I was picking up on, now it's more profound. So that's going to throw some atheists off their stride, because they've always been able in the past to basically say, hey, these people that are religious or believe in God, they're crazy. They have psychological issues. What we have now discovered is some of the atheists, and the poor poster man for the atheists got busted for some crazy sexual stuff now. So now we have to step back and say, okay, so maybe this is really about them not wanting to own or have to be responsible for their own behaviors. They want to act like animals and be okay. That is kind of a psychological issue. Now we don't have to debate, because boom, there it is staring you in the face. This guy has some behaviors that, guess who would not want there to really be a God, right? These are the people, when I was talking to X and as I'm teaching him little spiritual things here and there was a few atheist boys that he had talked to for a little bit, like, I don't believe in God, I only believe in my gun. And okay, do what you do. However, understand very clearly, as the poster man for atheist, agnostic, whatever they want to call it, has been called out for his sexual deviance, or however you want to say it, that's a red flag. Maybe there are a lot more atheists out there who just don't want to have to be responsible for their behavior. So glad to have been able to share this stuff with you guys. I'm glad to have been able to break it down. I talked about the difference between schizophrenia and spiritual gifts. When that Vegas shooting thing came out, huge, right? When I was trying to tell them, people, be quiet when you on some, everything's, call it terrorism. And you know, that's why I call it Chicken Little syndrome, where you're like, be quiet, y'all are dangerous when you get on social media and you start pushing stuff out there. And I said, the man is crazy. I have the ability to pick up on, for real, crazy people's thoughts. So I was like, he's crazy. There's a little conspiracy behind how some of that happened. We know this already, but he's crazy. And as they followed the line down the road, here comes the brother, which we now know was into child porn. And then their father had psychological issues. So guess what? Some of these scientists came and said, we need to really start studying their brains. Exactly. So understand now, when people perpetrate about their spiritual gifts, when I talk about my cross being heavy, right, I have to have a strong enough mind, right? If I tap into somebody's mind like that, okay, let's talk to the psychiatrists who know, or the psychologists who know. When you guys say things like crazy people can make you crazy, very true, because sometimes when you're trying to understand their motives and reasons behind certain things, there's not a rhyme or reason to them, so you find yourself going nuts the more that you're around them. You start picking up more of their behaviors, however you want to say it. So for somebody like me, I have to stay grounded, okay? And so now you get it. When I woke up, right, and it wasn't really a dream, it was really me tapping into somebody's head who was saying, I'm God, I'm God. And I said, fool, you're not God. So it's like that ESP conversation where I'm trying to explain to the person, you are not God. He was trying to convince me he was God. I'm like, fool, you're not God. So it's me tapping in. And so you can even call that basically battle over dominion. They are battling and not realizing. When I talk about schizophrenia and demons and the voices that they're hearing, those are really demons. Then they go off and they're killing people and doing stuff like that. That's true, and that's what happens. Just so happens somebody like me, healer, with the gifts that I have, I can tap in sometimes and say, okay, this person's brain is, I get your thinking, no, you're not God. So it's a powerful gift, but it's not one that people need to take lightly, because some like to front. They'll get to tapping in, right? That's what I'm talking about. My Mercury in the 8th house. I have my mind was built for this. And this is what I mean about having ordained spiritual gifts. Mercury in my 8th house. I have a mind built to be able to look at the undercurrents in people. And that's the difference there. And that's why I can stay so grounded with what I do, because God made me to be able to handle that intensity that comes with being able to feel all that. Hope you guys understand more. Take care.